Hey Internet, today I'd like to talk to you about the different types of depression. There's definitely more than just one type of depression. Basically, if you have depression, you should go to a doctor. You might be referred to a psychologist or a mental health specialist to figure out what kind of depression that you might have. This is an important step in the diagnosis for if you do have a depressive disorder. The first type of depression that I'd like to talk about is major depression. And that's also referred to as major depressive disorder. You might have this type of depression if you feel depressed most of the time or most of the days of the week. Some of the things you might experience with major depression is loss of interest in your activities or things that you like to do. You might gain weight or lose weight. You might have trouble falling asleep. You might feel sleepy during the day. You feel sluggish, foggy-headed, agitated, being tired without energy, feeling worthless or guilty, trouble concentrating or making decisions, maybe even thoughts of suicide. Your doctor might diagnose you with major depression if you have 5 or more of those things that I just mentioned for 2 weeks or longer. You might want to meet with a mental health specialist who will help you in managing this type of depression. When therapy and medication aren't working, there are other options that you might be prescribed. Another type of depression is persistent depressive disorder. That's what it's believed that I have. When that happens, it's depression that lasts for 2 years or longer. It's called persistent depressive disorder because it's used to describe 2 conditions that were previously known as dysthymia, which is a low-grade persistent depression, and also chronic major depression. You might have symptoms such as a change in your appetite if you're not eating enough or if you're eating way too much, if you sleep too much or too little, if you lack energy or you're tired all the time, if you have low self-esteem, if you have trouble concentrating or making decisions, or if you just feel generally helpless. You might be treated with psychotherapy, medication, or a combination of the 2. I think everybody needs a psychiatrist, whether they're depressed or not, but certainly for this type of depression, they are certainly a valuable resource. Another type of depression is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is sometimes called manic depression. This is when there's mood episodes that range from extremes of high energy with an up mood to a low depressive periods when you're really low and sad. When you're in the low phase, you have symptoms of major depression. Medication can help to get your mood swings under control. Whether you're in a high or low mood, you might be suggest a mood stabilizer like lithium or something like that. I can't stress how important it is to get help if you do have depression, because especially in bipolar disorder, traditional antidepressants are not always recommended because there's no proof from any studies that these drugs are more helpful than a placebo in treating depression in people with bipolar disorder. For a small percentage of people with bipolar disorder, some traditional antidepressants might increase the risk of causing a high phase of illness or speeding up the frequency of having more episodes over time. Psychotherapy is the best thing for bipolar disorder. The first step is getting diagnosed. So if you think you might have that, you should talk to your doctor and get a referral to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Another type of depression that affects me is seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. It's a period of major depression that most often happens during the winter months. When the days are shorter, you get less and less sunlight. It goes away usually in the spring and the summer when the sun comes out and the days are longer and there's more daylight. If you have SAD, antidepressants can definitely help. What also helps is light therapy. There's lights that are designed specifically for this. I'll put a link in the description in this video for resources on these lights. And I'm sure it could be helpful. It has been helpful for me. So basically what it is you sit in front of a special type of light, and it's for 15 to 30 minutes each day, first thing in the morning. No longer than that, because it could upset your circadian rhythm, and you don't want to do that. It's basically tricking your brain to think that the sun is out in the morning. Another type of depression is psychotic depression. So people with psychotic depression, they often have symptoms of major depression, but they also have psychotic episodes. Psychotic episodes such as hallucinations, where they see or hear things that aren't really there. Delusions, like false beliefs. Paranoia, wrongly believing that others are trying to harm you or sabotage you. A combination of antidepressant and antipsychotic drugs can treat psychotic depression, and even electrotherapy can help if that's an option. So women can have something called postpartum depression. What that is women that have major depression in the weeks and months after childbirth. Antidepressant drugs can help similarly to treating major depression that is unrelated to childbirth. So basically, after the baby is born, the mom goes into a very depressive state, and that is what's known as the postpartum depression or peripartum depression. Another type of depression that also affects women is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or PMDD. So women with PMDD have depression and other symptoms when they start their cycle. Besides feeling depressed, they might have mood swings, irritability, anxiety, trouble concentrating, fatigue, change in appetite, sleep habits, feelings of being overwhelmed, etc. Antidepressants are good. Sometimes oral contraceptives can treat this as well. It's thought to be linked with hormonal changes, which causes the PMDD. There's also something called situational depression. This isn't a technical term in psychiatry, but you can have a depressed mood when you're having trouble managing a stressful event in your life. Maybe you get married, maybe you get divorced, you find a new job, there's a death in your family. The doctor might call this a stress response syndrome. And psychotherapy can often help you get through this period of depression that's related to a stressful situation. The last type of depression I'm going to talk about is atypical depression. This type of depression is different than persistent sadness of typical depression. It is considered to be a specifier that describes a pattern of depressive symptoms. If you have atypical depression, a positive event can temporarily improve your mood. Other symptoms of atypical depression include increased appetite, sleeping more than usual, feeling of heaviness in your arms and legs, or being oversensitive to criticism when you wouldn't normally be. Antidepressants can help this. Your doctor might suggest an SSRI, which is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which is a common type of antidepressant. That's the first line of treatment usually for this type of depression. The doctor might also recommend an older type of antidepressant called an MAOI, which is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. This is a class of antidepressants that has been well studied in treating atypical depression. You might have one of the types of depression that I mentioned in this video. If you do, and if you want to share, maybe just put a comment about what you're experiencing and what kind of help you're getting to get through it. I'm sure it would be helpful to other people and maybe even myself. There have been a lot of people that have reached out since I put out these videos, so I'm very thankful for that. And I'm just going to keep making them because people keep watching them, so I'm just very flattered that I'm getting that response. So as always, thanks again for watching my video. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you think this is very helpful for you. Thank you very much, and have a great day.